I tell you something funny? I have a feeling that there are going to be some people that are going to take what I have to say today to be controversial. And no such thing could be further from the truth. There's nothing controversial about what I'm going to say today. I'm going to talk today on a subject of if I were a girl on the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host, I'm Kurt, and today is Thursday, the 21st of October of 2021. Welcome to everyone who's here on Rumble, on the podcast, and on YouTube. Thank you for coming along today. Remember, Rumble is my preferred platform. And again, we're going to talk on the subject of if I were a girl. Allow me to go quickly through my notes so you'll have some idea exactly what I'm going to say. It's been years ago now that a song titled If I Were a Boy came out. The person who sang it, and maybe wrote it, I honestly don't know, insisted life was wonderful for guys and more or less entirely wrong and unfair for ladies. It was a lady who did it, by the way, of course. You might think my response would be to try and turn the tables and show how great things are for young ladies and how horrible they are for young men. I could say things like, if women wanted to do it, because men often aren't all that bright, to be frank, they can take advantage of men and get what they want out of life with little to no work. I could make statements like, men are expected to support ladies. Very few women have such a burden placed upon them. Trust me, I could come up with a bunch more things of that sort. And I could put them out there. I could, give them to you to hear. Here's that famous thing. I'm not inclined to do that. In fact, I'm going to say something that shouldn't be even mildly controversial. These days, sadly, I think it is. I have zero idea what it's like to be a woman. Unlike what so many in the modern day are busily trying to sell, being male as being a female totally begins with the physical. Then it grows into what expectations are placed on people of each sex. The far more important aspects, though, are born out of who we are physically. I can try to think like a lady. I pretty much guarantee you one thing: I will fail. I'm not saying I won't have any success at all, but I won't do it well. You say you're a man trapped in a woman's body, or the converse. I have one simple question for you. What on earth makes you think you've the slightest idea how it feels to be the opposite sex to yourself? In fact, I don't think it's reasonable for me to assume I know what it feels like to be another person of the same sex. That said, it's pretty much preposterous to assume you can know what it's like to be me if you're female. I'm sorry. And again, I'm not sitting here saying I would do better trying to step into your shoes if you're female. If you are a female, right? It's with this mind that I think folks who try to do transgenderism or even gender fluidity cannot help but fail. You asked me to pin a song titled If I Was a Girl. Sorry to tell you this, but I can't conceive of trying. Ladies have every bit as much right to tell me I have no idea what it means to be them as I do to make the reverse claim. So the notes, I think, are pretty simple today, and I think you get a pretty good idea probably of where I'm going with what I'm saying. I don't think it's very difficult to understand. There is this tendency in the modern day for people to assume that they know what it's like to be somebody who's substantially different than themselves. I have to try and step into the shoes of an autistic boy, a moderately autistic boy, because frankly, I may be mildly autistic. I have to try and step into the shoes of an autistic boy. And you know the thing that I've learned? I can't. I can't even step into the shoes of somebody of my own sex who happens to have moderate autism as opposed to the maybe mild that I have. I can't do it. There's no doggone way. That doesn't mean that I can't get some inkling of what things are like in his life. And it doesn't mean I can't observe him and try and figure out what's probably going to happen in a given situation. I think that's a skill that lots of us ought to learn, and I certainly am among them. Right? I have to do that myself. But what I'm trying to tell you is, even if I can sort of understand how you're going to behave, react, and respond, that does not mean I have an inkling what it's like to be you. I don't care if you're male or female, but I will say this. If you're female, I think the chances are much lower that I will understand what it's like to be you than if you're male. Because there are certain things I can say. There are certain things about my physicality that are probably true about yours, if you're a male. There are certain things about your physicality that are probably true for other females if you happen to be a female. I know there are those who argue for hermaphroditic people and similar understanding both. I don't really think that's true. I think that there's still a predominant sex that's associated with the individual in question, and it bears itself out over the course of time. I really believe that's true. That said, even if it isn't true, that's a very small segment of the population who might happen to be able to sort of make the statement, I know how it feels to live on both sides. If you say, as a female, I feel like I'm a male trapped in a female's body, my answer to you is, oh, how do you know what it means to be a male? You aren't, you see. You're not. And you can do all of the surgeries and hormones and all of the rest of the stuff to try and make yourself look like what those other people look like. But you weren't born that way. You didn't really grow up that way unless you transitioned quite young. And even then, you really didn't grow up that way because you're not naturally that thing. So you have no idea, you have no concept of what it's like to be me. And again, let's be quite clear on something. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, you're a lady and I know what it's like to be. I have no idea what it's like to be you. I can make some guesses on certain things, and I suppose I can even make some educated guesses on certain things. But the reality is, for the most part, I have no idea what it's like to be you, and I never will. I'm 50 plus years of age. I couldn't tell you what it's like to be a female. Couldn't tell you. Couldn't begin to describe what that would be like. And here's the thing. Assume that you've heard males talk about their life and you seem to jive and work real well with what they say. Let me just tell you this. Lots of guys will tell you about certain parts of who they are, and they'll leave out some of the more important stuff. And I think that that's probably just as true for ladies. They won't really think about things that are built in, that are natural to them. They'll think about particularly things that are stressful or difficult a lot of times, or things that are joyous and exciting, but they won't think about certain things that are just baked into who they are. This is what I'm trying to get across to you. If I were a girl, I'm not a girl, then I cannot be one. It is not possible. I am in my physicality male. I am in my attitudes male. I have no idea what it's like to be a female. The only thing that I can tell you for sure is I don't know. I can tell you certain things are probable, certain things are likely, but that's probably the best that I can do. I want you to understand that this is the case because I think a lot of people have talked themselves into the idea that they can tell other people what they are when they are not that thing. I'm sorry. You can say, well, if a person thinks they're the dog, they should be the best darn dog they should be, or they can be. My answer to that is, if you're a dog, you don't earn a living. If you don't earn a living, other people have to support you. No, it's not okay for you to put that burden on other people. There are already people who can't take care of themselves. We don't need more. We do not need more. I promise you. I'm sorry, you're not a rock. You're not a car. You're not a dog. And if you're a female, I'm sorry to tell you this, you're not a male. And if you're a male, sorry to tell you equally, you're not a female. Okay, I need to go ahead and wrap up. This is the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host. I'm Kurt. Today is Thursday, the 21st of October of 2021. That means tomorrow will be Friday, that beginning of the weekend and the beginning of the Sabbath for those who observe it. Friday, the 22nd of October of 2021. Thank you for everyone who's been here on Rumble, on the podcast, and on YouTube. Subject for today has been If I Were a Girl. And tomorrow we're going to talk on a subject that a lot of people have a sort of a knee-jerk response to, and I want to discuss it, and I actually want to get into it maybe a little bit in depth. The idea or the subject is going to be, are prejudices bad? Hope you're having a good day today. Hope everything is going well for you. I know what I've said may be controversial to some folks. I'm sorry that that's true. I'm not backing down on what I said unless you can give me a really good reason to do so. And in that case, I'll let people know what reason you gave me. Have a feeling that's not going to happen. Again, hope things are going well for you. Hope things in general are good in your life. And hopefully we will see you again on Friday's edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This video was recorded on Thursday, October 21st of 2021. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for watching this edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I hope you found it entertaining or instructional, or maybe both. If you want to see more from me, you can go to blogs.kpschubert.com. That's blogs.kpschubert.com. I am on Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com. My handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That's @kpschubert. I have a Rumble and a YouTube channel. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on Rumble and YouTube. I have a Facebook page. The Facebook page is Kurt's Religion and Politics as well. I am on Patreon. If you want to support me, that's one of the better places you can do that. And you will find me at Kurt's Religion and Politics on Patreon. I have a podcast. The podcast is podcasts with an S, .kpschubert.com. That's podcasts.kpschubert.com. I think you should be able to find me with relative ease on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. The best way I find to do that is to look for Kurt's Religion and Politics. You can try to use the Daily Summation. I find that it doesn't work as well as a general rule, but you can always try that. I'm glad to have you aboard today, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.